Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex, and this is Big Baby Reviews. Check out my comics, Big Baby or Star Crasher at KingComics.CA, and my other stuff too. Check out my YouTube channel and my videos at KingComics2021. Check out my Instagram, MaximusRex13, and my Facebook, MaxRex. So today, guys, JAE LEE Day. We're looking at Namor the Sub-Mariner. This is issue number 31, 1992. October 1992 is when it came out, and I'm going to say, for me, this is the beginning of peak JAE LEE. Now, originally as a kid, I encountered JAE LEE when he moved on to Image, right? I only heard about him as he was getting ready to move off of Namor and go to Image. So I only started really buying back in the day on Youngblood Strike File, right? And then eventually I got the Wildcats miniseries he did, and then Hellshock, and I kind of trailed off with the first issue of Hellshock, I think. I didn't buy anything after that. From JAE LEE. So what I've found out since then is, you know, what I would consider his peak period is kind of like that stuff that I talked about, Youngblood Strike File, Wildcats trilogy. And that kind of started in around his work on Namor. As we saw before, he was being inked by someone else, kind of cleaned him up a little bit, but still some great compositions and layouts from JAE LEE at such an early age. But now we've got full-on JAE LEE, full throttle. So just like the covers we've been getting, he's also this is also the first issue where he inks himself on the inside. So again, I'm going to claim that this is, from what I've seen and what we're going to see in up to Youngblood Strike File throughout this run on Namor, is to me peak JAE LEE, or at least peak JAE LEE from the 90s, because I have to say his style continued and changed and continued to evolve and change. And in and around when he was doing Inhumans, I was kind of less into it. But just recently, I've seen some stuff from maybe the last 10 years, and there's just, I don't know if I'm crazy, but I feel like there's like a bit of a Paul Pope kind of thing mixed into his style that really works for me. His artwork still looks, again, the term I use is elegant. In this issue, you're going to see less elegance, at least in the rendering, because this is a period where he's strongly influenced by Bill Sienkiewicz and Simon Bisley, as you can probably tell from this cover here. A lot of the finish of you're seeing on top of these two characters is definitely from those two guys, or inspiration from those two guys. But he's going to move into a cleaner, more elegant style. Like I said, on Humans, he had a bit of that. And what he's just doing these days, I think, is really amazing. And it's like a second peak period for JAE LEE. So, and, you know, all the splatter he's doing on these, he's really working fast and hard on these. Almost like I talked about yesterday with Kelly Jones and Sam Keith, how they attack the page. I feel like this period of JAE LEE, there's probably a lot of, you know, his pages are kind of thick, right? Great cover. Like I said, all the great kind of wonky textures and stuff. And I like the kind of more subtle textures he does on Doom's hand here. And this is the kind of stuff that we're going to see later on in Humans, and more indicative of his slightly more, not constrained, but discreet or subtle style, as opposed to this kind of in-your-face type of rendering. Let's have a look inside. Again, first issue inked by him. What you want to pay attention to is how the textures are pretty different from the past few issues when he was being inked by Albright. Not that he was doing a bad job, but like, again, look at this double page splash. We've got JAE LEE like full on. I've talked about, again, working to the format. I think that Namor was not a full bleed comic. What I'm starting to notice from this period at Marvel is if you've got these little rectangles here, it's probably not a full bleed comic. And that's why you can tell from his design his work. You know, you do a double page splash like this, to me, you know, it looks kind of odd with the frame around it, you know, like it should go all the way to the edge, or at least I feel it should. But he's being smart with his design because he knows the format. He's making sure nothing gets cut off or anything like that. And, you know, sometimes I wonder if maybe his pages, some of them are kind of conceived as full bleed, but then shrunk a bit just to get this thing here. But yeah, looks a little odd to me to have the border around it. But the actual image inside is pretty darn awesome. Once again, JAE LEE inking himself. All the textures down here, the grit, but his ladies always stay kind of clean and elegant, even though there's a bit of scratches on her. You know, pay attention to the metal textures, the musculature on the arm, right? The Bisley vibe. John Byrne's still the writer. JAE LEE is now the full artist. Michael Higgins' letter, and Glynis Oliver's still the colorist. Let's see if there's still a lot of blue in this issue, right? We've noticed that over the past few. And yeah, so you get a lot more mood, I think, with Jay Lee inking himself, right? So these confrontational shots, Namor's expression, his face, the grit. Um, this shot of Doom here is very kind of moody. Really like that. This is not even a panel, so just to create layering behind these two panels, he's just added like, I'm gonna assume maybe that's blood or ink or something, pouring down the wall there. So same kind of layouts, he's just dirtying them up a lot more, and probably it's allowing him. I feel like he's working pretty fast, but still not. He's still a good composer. He's still pretty solid on the anatomy, like I said. Now he's starting to exaggerate it, more of a Lobo kind of body, but everything works here. This panel, I think, is awesome. Just the sheer energy of it, the line work and stuff. Like, that's great. How do you represent him breaking the chains? Like, how simple and effective and a quick storytelling kind of tool is that right there? And of course, you see broken chains here. Like, the storytelling is, very clear, but also very bombastic, which I like. And just, yeah, the moods he's setting here, it's slowly turning almost into a horror comic. Who would think you'd say that about Namor? But that's, yeah, the color holds back here, the green color hold for Doom, and just the overall grit that he's adding, and the atmosphere. The grit is just giving you that insane atmosphere. This seems like a very Lobo inspired shot, right? I've mentioned this before, where Namor at this point in this comic basically is Lobo or looks a lot like Lobo. Look at the amount of splatter he's throwing on here. And again, okay, looking at this double page splash, to me it's obvious that this was done, right up to here, full bleed, and they shrunk it just so they don't have any issues there. Kind of weird formatting for Marvel at this time, because they were publishing books that were full bleed, so I don't understand why they couldn't give that to Jay Lee. I feel like, is that why he's adding the black around some of these panels? Like, this should have been, blown up or something. I mean, this page is kind of repetitive, right? Just like, Namor's angry. So I don't know how much storytelling is going on there, but this shot I think is pretty cool. Like, you can tell the secondary characters back here, he's drawn them very quickly, but it works. It's effective. Even this quasi almost all silhouette, just a bit of reflection here, some hatching for the movement. All looks really good. The coloring, I think, fits well. Look at that. He's really going nuts here. Like, again, I say Lobo to a certain extent has a bit of Wolverine inspiration in him. So, like, this is, how is that not Wolverine? Like, the hair at this point is basically Wolverine's hair. This is supposed to be his hair, but it does look like his sideburns. Ooh, Twin Towers before 2001, right? More of his, like, I don't know if it's, I've mentioned before with Jay Lee, I feel like he gets some inspiration from like 80s hairstyle magazines or something. There's something in that aesthetic that I think, like that clean line in certain instances when he uses it, like here, where it kind of reminds me of that. My mom was a hairdresser, so she had all those magazines in the 80s, and like there's an aesthetic there that I think is kind of repeated here. Great, just establishing shot of this whatever space they're in, right? This guy and his screens monitoring stuff, the simple idea of the panel and the computer here, probably keyboards, the logistics, like everything, the piping, and they even threw in a screen tone on this blue back here. I love this whole thing here. So evocative and so well done, and again, so clean and elegant, where sometimes, like I said, and you've seen this comic, he goes super gritty, right, in the action stuff, but here he's just super clean. And it's the same artist, and I think it works. It works well together. There's that machine in the woods in the past issues that he would draw the silhouette, almost purely in silhouette, kind of that same vibe here. Using that screen tone again for the here it's being used vertically, here horizontally for that screen effect. Yeah, and these, like I said, are some of those examples of like elegant page design. Interesting. And again, you know, none of the storytelling I think is sacrificed, but these are pages as an artist that you can get through very quickly. This guy was, you know, just going nuts and working. I've talked about it before, doing 6-7 pages a day, he claims, in an interview in Wizard. Here, just leaving the balls of just leaving the shoes and the pants, all the bottom part of this guy in negative space, and then throwing in a screen tone, a dotty screen tone, kind of a Eric Larson screen tone, I'd call it. Amazing. Again, more vertical screen tones, very small. I don't know if you can see it. More screen tone here. I think the screen tone with JAE Lee's art really works well. Really works well. Look at that, using Doom's cape and stuff as like to split up this panel up here. Doom, just great design. Again, I could see why those image guys saw this guy and they're like, oh man, like this guy knows what he's doing, this young kid. And they would definitely want to bring him over. He's using white medium too, you can tell. He's using a lot of different stuff. Okay, so double page splash for Doom's kind of flashback sequence. And look at the use of silhouette again. It's just, like, I marvel at the simplicity of what he's doing and how evocative it is. You know, if I could just keep it this simple, get through stuff very quickly, or quicker than I get through it now, like, oh man, I wish. Like, I wish I had the balls to just do this kind of simple, I don't want to say simple stuff. It's pretty complex. But like the clarity of this profile, and again, this machine and silhouette with just a few highlights, you know, this is the kind of stuff he still does today, right? He's kept up. Even here, just they're fish underwater and just all in silhouette. He accomplishes so much with so little, and at such a young age. That's a great kind of angry Doom shot. Lots, you can tell, like so much white medium being used here. He's just, this is Bill Sienkiewicz, excuse me, right? That's where that's coming from. Tons of splatter around the eyes. Another weird use of those rectangular Doom eyes, though. That's a little odd. Okay, this is an interesting shot. So basically, Namor's punched all these guys up and out through the boat's deck. And now he's pissed and he's coming after Doom. Like all of like this, who thinks of doing that? This is all like one integrated image, but three kind of sequences, right? You got Namor busting out of the floor. The floor here fades into Doom's cape and green that suggests the cape, right? So you get the next shot, Namor jumping towards Doom. And then if you move down, he's integrated these horizontal lines, speed lines, into the cape that then kind of lead down to the bottom panel, define them, split them, and also create movement between Namor and Dr. Doom here, kind of a manga thing. Like, that's amazing. And he stopped here. He could have kind of kept going, but like it's clearly defined as like a panel. But then they're still kind of in the panel because they're overlapping it. And that panel doesn't really stop here because his hand's there. It's just amazing. Amazing composition. What a great page. For such a quick moment, right? I bet you when you read it, you just go through it quickly, but the thought and the cleverness and the clarity of it is just amazing to me. And, well, of course, Doom's going to have the upper hand and just pushes Namor off the boat. Flies off like a cum shot, to be continued. So kind of an odd place to stop, but that's fine. We'll be checking out next issue next week and finding out what happens. So there you go, guys. That is issue 31 of Namor the Submariner. That's my review for today. If you are subscribed and you're still watching, thank you so much for being there. I really appreciate you. If you are not subscribed but you're still watching, please take a second. Just hit the subscribe button below, the like button as well. That always helps. Helps the channel grow, helps get us out there to other people who are into the same kind of stuff that we are, namely comic books. So everyone out there, please have an awesome day. King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.
Like, subscribe.